You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
This is Jenny Earhart with Southern Sisters Radio, and I'm your Southern Sister. In case you didn't know, you can check us out every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. And I'd love to hear from you. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
Welcome to Southern Sisters Radio, the show for Southern women and the men who adore them. Join us as we celebrate life from a Southern point of view. Here's your host, author, founder of Southern Sisters Home, Jenny McCormick Earhart.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Southern Sisters Radio program. We're so happy that you're here with us, celebrating life in the South. You know, the most important things in life. Southern food. Southern culture.
Absolutely.
Southern women.
Oh, yes.
I like your little comments.
Of course.
That's right. Yeah?
Because it's all so true.
It is. It is. You know, every region, I should say, of the United States has its own culture, its own nuances, its own style. There's just something about the South. If you can get past the humidity and the bugginess, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, you know, there's a whole lot of folks that come down here to retire and get away from the cold. So
they do.
We'll take the muggy over the freezing weather any day.
I completely agree. We have got the greatest show planned for you guys today, so hang in there with us. We're going to be talking about, well, some late summer cool and easy desserts. Now, these are the kind that you do not have to turn the oven on for. You don't have to turn the stove on for these things.
Those are the best kind.
Cool, sweet, and delicious, kind of like me. No. No.
Love it.
I like a lot of my favorite Southern women, for sure. So we're going to do that in the second segment. We're going to talk a little bit about etiquette and protocol, because guess what? There are some things that you might be doing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
Well,
let's be honest.
You're almost perfect, Nick, so you're not doing anything wrong, but there's a few on here. We're all guilty of a little...
All need a little work on your couth. It's all right.
You know, none of us are without guilt when it comes to an occasional etiquette faux pas.
Absolutely.
Right? We've
Absolutely.
all done something we wish we hadn't have done, said something we wish we hadn't have said. It's normal, okay? The trick is to learn from it and, go forth and sin no more. That's what we're going to talk about. You know what, though? I've often talked on the show about how I tend to be a little bit clumsy in the kitchen. I kind of call myself the accidental cook. I typically will drop something. My husband Earl will make jokes about needing to wear steel-toed shoes when he's in the kitchen with me. Because I told him, look, as long as when I drop the knife, it's not point down, you have nothing to worry about. Just calm down.
Good point. Maybe he doesn't need steel-toed boots. Just keep a distance.
I break things or, it's normal. And I make a big mess in the kitchen. He's one of those clean as you go kind of cooks. I'm trying to get better at that. But for the most part, I make a huge, huge mess. But the accident-prone part, and those of you that are like me, you know who you are. You trip occasionally, fall occasionally, drop things occasionally.
Stub your toe like every other day.
Stubbing the toes is the worst.
Yeah, it hurts.
Is that not painful?
Oh, God.
So I was moving a little furniture at my house recently and stubbed my toe very badly. Ooh. And but it's something I've done many times. So I really didn't think too much of it. I thought, it's fine. It's fine. So it turns purple. What? Big deal, right?
Yeah.
But after about a week and a half, and I still couldn't put any weight on it, I started to think maybe I really did something this time. So a friend of mine said, you need to go see a podiatrist. I've never been to a podiatrist in my life, but can I tell you, I've got the most awesome podiatrist now. She is a Southern sister through and through. This woman, before I even met her, I heard her talking in the next room, in the next little examining room at her office to another patient. And she just had this big boisterous personality. I could hear her coming right through the wall. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And I just loved listening to her talk. So she came in and checked out my foot and sure enough confirmed that I had indeed broken the toe, which I don't know if you know, there's not a lot that can be done for that. No. But I had the best time talking to her, and she has got some pretty strong opinions about women and how we don't necessarily take good care of our feet.
It's all those the pointy-toed heels and all that stuff.
It's that whole theory that I used to live by, which is it's better to look good than to feel good.
Not when it comes to your feet.
I know. Eventually, you're going to pay you're going to pay for it, right? But she was talking about that, and I started talking to her, and I said, you know what? You would be an excellent guest on the radio show. I said, you need to come in and we'll do a little segment on feet health and just about what women should do, because it's hard for women to step away from the stilettos. Those that enjoy wearing high heels. It's hard. It's a difficult
And I'm sure there's a way that you can still wear them and properly take care of your feet in the process.
I agree. She had some great suggestions.
Wonderful.
She did. And she said, she would love to share them. So I think we're going to have her on the show in the next couple of weeks, coming in and talking about that sort of thing. But the worst part of the whole thing, I didn't have to have a cast because, they can't cast a toe.
No. Did they give you like the little blue foam with the metal around it thing?
No, they didn't do that. No, she said just tape it to your other toe and then you just be careful.
Just run with it.
Hopefully it'll heal. No, the worst part of it is she says, well, you need to keep it taped and I want to see you back in a month for an x-ray. But in the meantime, you have to wear this shoe on your foot.
Shoe.
Okay. I say shoe. That's a polite term for it. And I'm typically not that vain of a person, but let me tell you, vanity, thy name is an orthopedic shoe.
Yeah, that thing's ugly.
Okay, you can't see it, folks, on the radio right here, but just take my word for it. This is the ugliest thing I have ever seen in my life.
So the front of it kind of looks like those, like the sandals you see the guys wearing that you just slip your foot into, right? So it looks like that from like the arch of your foot forward.
Right.
And then from the rest of your foot back, it looks like a really, really crummy black like shoe you would wear to work.
Nasty canvas with Velcro that straps across the top.
It's got
and
a square toe.
Not just
and
a little
open.
square toe, an open, gigantic. It's like, I feel like I'd be a platypus wearing this thing.
You know, that's a good point. You probably wear that and swim really well.
It's
all that
bad.
surface area.
Right. Right. And I said to her, I don't want to wear that. And she goes, well, you need to wear it. I said, I don't want to wear that. That's awful. So apparently it's only to protect your foot. The other option is not to go outside. I don't have to wear it at home if I don't want to. And so I've just stayed in the house for the past week and a half.
That's an open-toed shoe. How's that going to protect your broken toe?
I think it's supposed to keep you from, because the end of the shoe is so big and sticking out there, it's like a bumper car on your foot.
That's a great...
Right?
There you go. That's a description for you there, folks.
If you hit something, if I hit my foot into another piece of furniture, it's supposed to protect, somehow protect it. But
with my luck, I'd wear that around and I'd drop something on my foot. It'd make it worse.
Oh, on the top.
That would be my fault. That would be my luck.
Well, guys, like I said, vanity. I don't know. I don't think I can wear that shoe in public. I'd rather stay in the house.
Yeah,
personally.
Good point. I'd rather almost have like the air cast.
I'm not the only woman that feels that way.
Then at least it looks like you did something, right?
Yeah.
You got the full-blown air cast.
Got the full-blown air cast. Then you have to make up a really good story about how you broke your foot.
Like, what'd you do to your foot? You should see the other guy's face.
I was wave surfing. Oh, there you go. I was going to say wave surfing. You're right. Yeah. Right? The other guy's worse. Love it.
There you go.
Hey, important things we need to cover here in the first segment. Did you know, and I know because I was in the drive-thru at Steak and Shake this week, because every now and then a girl's just got to have herself a steak burger.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And a milkshake.
Oh, well, that's what I'm going to talk about today.
Okay.
Steak and Shake has a new milkshake out, folks. It's the Cocoa Krispies milkshake.
What?
Cocoa Krispies as in the breakfast cereal.
Yeah.
It's a Cocoa Krispies milkshake.
What?
It was strange, and I was oddly confused by it.
Did you get it?
I didn't order it. I stared at the picture for a long time. I was trying to wrap my brain around the fact that breakfast and milkshakes were converging, and there seemed something wrong about it. First of all, number one issue I have is, why on earth would you take a perfectly healthy breakfast food like Cocoa Krispies and defame it by turning it into a milkshake?
I don't know if that's defaming, though.
I don't know.
I'll be honest with you. It sounds a little weird, but it sounds good.
Well, it could be. I've done Rice Krispie type treats with Cocoa Krispies before for the kids when they were little. But yeah, it confused me a little bit. Cocoa Krispies milkshake.
I wonder, to me, it might almost have like the consistency of like a tapioca, right?
I suppose. Well,
it would have does it have the Krispies in it?
The picture looked like they were on top. But if you stir this, these are important culinary conversations here, folks. For those of you listening to the Southern Sisters radio show, this is the type of thing that we just need to get to the bottom of it.
Oh, yeah.
Cocoa Krispies mixed with ice cream. I just don't know. It confuses me.
Yeah, because if it doesn't have the Cocoa Krispies in it, then it's just a chocolate milkshake.
Right?
Right?
Because wouldn't they get all soggy? I mean, think of what the Cocoa Krispies do when you stir them into milk. They get all mushy.
Yeah, and milkshake, it probably doesn't pop either. That's kind of part of the glory of the Krispies, right? Is to listen to it snap, crackle, and pop.
Snap, crackle, pop type of thing.
It's not going to do that in a milkshake.
Very strange.
Huh.
Anyway, so there you have it, guys.
So if any of you have ever tried it, let us know.
Please let me know. Email us. Certainly that's the best way to get in touch with Southern Sisters. radio@southernsistershome.com. Just let us know if you've tried the Cocoa Krispies milkshake. And if you have, what you thought of it. That way we'll know if it's terrible. None of us will try it.
Right. Thanks. Save us from the pain.
There's been a little Southern controversy.
Oh, no. I am flustered about this one, Jenny.
Are you really?
Mm-hmm.
Flustered? Okay, flustered could be... Okay,
bad.
Bad flustered.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit of sacrilege, I think, because I think it's a little bit of an overreach, a little overreaction. We are living in trying times right now. We're living in very heated, controversial times, right? When everyone is so concerned with being offended one way or the other, which... Quite frankly, you know what? If you're a human being, you're going to be offended at one time or another, or you're going to offend someone. But the Orpheum Theater in Memphis, Tennessee, has been showing Gone with the Wind at its summer film festival for 34 years, but not anymore. The theater announced that it is removing Gone with the Wind, which is in the top 10 of the American Film Institute's list of 100 greatest American films, and is preserved in the Library of Congress's National Film Registry. But the theater is removing it from its roster after complaints that the film is racially insensitive. Now, the movie is based in Margaret Mitchell's 1936 novel and is considered a classic by many, especially here in the South. Now, as Town and Country magazine reports, a 2014 Harris poll said the book was one of America's all-time favorites, second only to, what do you think?
The Bible.
The Bible. My producer's always right. The movie earned 9 Academy Awards, including the first ever for an African-American actress, Hattie McDowell. She won Best Supporting Actress.
Wasn't she like wasn't she what was it Mammy? Is that what they called her in the
Hattie McDowell? And then it's terrible, movie? Or was she?
I can't remember. I'll have to look that one up. We'll look that one up.
Yeah, I think she was. I think she was Mammy. Mm-hmm. Wasn't she? Gone with the Wind has been criticized over the years for romanticizing the South during the Civil War, as well as for its depictions of slavery. Now, after the Orpheum screened the film on August 11th, several people complained about its inclusion in the summer series, particularly after the events in Charlottesville, Virginia. That's when the theater decided or made the decision to cut the picture from next year's summer series. How about that? Now, this is what do you think the theater had to say about this? I was like, because you can't do something like that and not explain yourself.
So they probably said, in order to not stoke the fires, we've made this decision, right? Something along those lines.
Basically, yeah. And you have to kind of wonder, is it okay to offend one person? I mean, basically, in everything, somebody somewhere is going to be offended.
Very true.
Is it the preponderance of people are offended? If only one person complains that they're offended, is that enough to remove something? I mean, you could start saying that about all sorts of things.
Yeah, well, my opinion on it in general, though, is that this was a movie that was made in, 1939?
Yeah.
The movie was made in 1939, which was a drastically different world from which we live in today.
Right.
And was about a time period 70 years before that.
Exactly.
So, obviously, there's going to be a lot that has changed culturally within society.
Right.
And a lot of things probably in that movie that are, I mean, for goodness sake, we all know the famous last line. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Right.
You couldn't say that on the movies back then.
Mm-mm.
Now, on this very radio station, you hear a whole lot worse than that.
Wow. Some of us hurl more profanity than others.
But really, that was a big deal.
It was.
And now we don't view it as a problem at all versus the depiction of African Americans in that movie.
I agree. And that is what they were saying. Is one of the complaints was its depiction of slavery. But that was part of that time.
Correct.
We don't look back on that and think that was right? We're not. I don't feel that it's glorifying it.
No, and that was another.
I think it's a depiction of what was actually historically accurate at the time.
And that's the thing too, is I have heard the statement that it didn't properly depict the real harshness of slavery. And in that movie, the two primary slaves that are in that movie, Mammy and I believe her daughter or the girl that she's helping to raise, they were house slaves, which was a different lifestyle, which they were treated a little bit more as people. I mean, they were still treated like slaves, but it was a different kind of culture for a slave who worked in the home versus one that worked in the fields. And it's not good to be a slave at all. I'm not trying to justify that and make that okay, but it didn't improperly depict slavery of the day. It was actually a rather accurate description.
Right. And I don't know that it's the responsibility of every piece of art, be it art of cinematic art or creative arts, to necessarily always have a social commentary.
Correct.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Correct.
It's more of an accurate depiction. I don't know. It's troubling. I can understand why I suppose some people might feel this way, but I think it's a slippery slope. I think it's a slippery slope. Think of all the things that we'd have to. Are we going to pull the books out of the libraries? Are we going to? I don't know.
That's not good. That's Big Brothery.
That's a little Big Brothery. I think so. I don't
know,
guys. What do y'all think about this? We'd love to hear. We have some very educated listeners to the Southern Sisters Radio Show. So if you'd like to email us at radio@southernsistershome.com, we'd love to know what you think about the sort of the cleansing of art. That's what's happening in this world, right? True. It's what happened with the statues and the monuments coming down. We love to hear from you. We'll be right back.
What's going on, KLRN Radio family? Happy Sunday. You're listening to Southern Sisters Radio right here on KLRN. Connect with our Southern sister, Jenny Earhart, on Facebook, facebook.com/Southern Sisters Home. Also on Twitter at Jenny Earhart, GINNYEHRHART. And of course, online, SouthernSistersHome.com. Now, back to Southern Sisters Radio, right here on KLRN Radio.
Turn off the telly, Nelly. Come to the table, Mabel. Now sit up straight, Kate. It's time to eat, Pete. Have a banana, Hannah. Try the salami, Tommy. Get with the gravy, Davy. Everybody eats when they come to my house.
And welcome back to the Southern Sisters radio program, the food segment. I wait all week for the food segment.
I know. It's the best one.
Eating food, talking about food. Well, if you're from the South and you're within the sound of my voice, I know you love Southern food too. And in the summertime, it's a little hot outside. Maybe you don't want to heat up the kitchen, baking a big old cake.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes slaving in the summer in the kitchen just ain't worth it.
It's not worth it, no. And if there's something that you could whip up that is easy, number one.
Like that word.
Cool, number two.
Also like that word.
Creamy, number three.
Ooh.
These are all good adjectives, right? And maybe a little chocolatey. That's, for me, that's a wonderful thing. We have some Southern Sisters recipes for you today, folks, that are just going to, they're going to put a smile on your face, right? And you're not going to heat up the kitchen, and you're going to please the entire family. Desserts, cool and creamy variety. We have a couple of recipes to share with you that we think you'll enjoy. You're going to be able to see all the photos and the recipes on the Southern Sisters website. Just go to southernsistershome.com, click on the blog. We put gorgeous photographs up there every week. Oh, yes.
And the best part about it is the photos that we're seeing from the recipes.
Yes.
That's the actual thing.
It is. Oh, yes.
It's the actual then eaten after the picture's taken product.
Exactly. No, I don't disappoint. I've always been into the photography. My cookbooks have 400 photographs each in them because I think it's important to be able to see what it is you're making.
Yeah.
It's hard. Sometimes it's hard to visualize a recipe just by reading it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Why don't we start off with a macaroon ice cream torte? Oh, hello, beautiful. This is so good and so easy to whip together. Easy is an understatement. This is one of the simplest things. There's no baking involved. It's mostly assembly.
Really?
And there are certain folks out there that would say, well, if it's just assembly, it's not a true recipe. And,
yes, it is.
I got something to say to them. When you're hot and tired, sometimes you just want to assemble.
Yes.
So get off my case.
Just keep it simple.
Keep it simple. So what you're going to need for the macaroon ice cream torte, and believe me, it is heavenly. Oh, there's the singing again. You're going to need 30 of your chocolate or plain macaroon cookies. Okay, these are store-bought cookies. You can pick them up in the grocery store. You'll need 1 quart of coffee ice cream. Okay, if you can leave the ice cream sitting out for a couple of minutes to soften it just a bit, that's even better. You're going to need 1 quart of chocolate ice cream, 1 cup of milk chocolate toffee bits. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. The little toffee bits, like little Heath candy bars chopped up, and a little hot fudge topping, is warmed up. You're going to sprinkle 1/3 of the cookies. Now, you've crumbled them. You've taken those cookies, those 30 chocolate macaroon cookies, and you've crumbled them. You're going to sprinkle 1/3 of the cookies into an ungreased 9-inch springform pan. I'm a big fan of the springform pan. A springform pan basically allows your dessert to go vertical without falling over.
Yes.
It gives you those nice, high, raised sides, okay? So you're going to put about 1/3 of those cookies into an ungreased 9-inch springform pan. You're going to layer it with 2 cups of coffee ice cream, another 1/3 of the cookies, 2 cups of chocolate ice cream, and 1/2 of those yummy little Heath toffee bits. Ooh. Got it? Then repeat the layers. So we're going vertical. You're going to freeze it, covered, until it's firm. Here's one of the nice things about this dessert. You can freeze it for up to 2 months.
Wow.
Let's say you've got company coming over in a couple of weeks. You can make this ahead of time and take it out when you're ready to serve. Got it? So you remove the torte from the freezer for about 10 minutes before you're going to slice it, and then serve it with a little bit of fudge topping on top.
Ooh, yum.
Oh, my word. It is so incredible.
I was saying, that's just easy. That's
I know.
I think crunching up the cookies is probably the hardest part of that entire thing.
Probably, right? A little bit of labor
so
involved.
simple.
They're almost not even recipes. They're almost just like an easy way to assemble something sweet and creamy and yummy.
And this is also a great way to get the kids involved.
Right.
They don't have to be around the stove. It's nice and simple.
Get them in the kitchen.
Perfect.
Make them roll up their sleeves. Help a little
Especially if you can teach them to cook your dessert on a regular basis.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? They're little slaves. Put them to work. Teach them how to cook. How about a root beer float pie?
Ooh.
Now, that's just crazy talk, isn't it? That is crazy talk. Here's what you're going to need for this. You're going to start this recipe with a carton, an 8-ounce carton of whipped topping. Cool Whip. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to need about 3/4 of a cup of root beer. So what you're going to do is you're going to set aside 1/2 cup of that whipped topping for a garnish later. So take out 1/2 cup, set that aside. In a large bowl, you'll whisk together 3/4 of a cup of cold root beer, 1/2 cup of milk, one small package of vanilla pudding mix, and you're going to whisk that together for about 2 minutes, right? Fold in half of the remaining whipped cream, and then you're going to spread the whole thing into a 9-inch graham cracker pie crust. Just spread it right in there. Then spread the remaining whipped topping over the pie. Freeze it for at least 8 hours. You want it good and cold and frozen. Got it? Then dollop the reserved whipped topping on over each serving as you serve it. I like to put a little maraschino cherry on top.
Oh, yeah. That's perfect.
Just because it's so pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Delicious.
That sounds great.
It's just cool. And I mean, think of the flavors of a root beer float.
Oh, yeah.
But then put it into a creamy pie.
Yum.
Hello.
Perfect.
Now, I know that you like to grill, Nick. We've talked about that. It's summertime. We're outside. We're grilling. While that grill is still hot, after you've done cooking your dinner, right? You're gonna be able to whip a great grilled cold summertime dessert. Oh. This is grilled honey balsamic glazed fruit. I use peaches for this.
Yum.
They are so good. In a small saucepan, folks, you want to combine a half a cup of balsamic vinegar, a half a cup of honey, and about a dash of salt. You're going to cook and stir that over low heat for 2 to 3 minutes or until it's blended. You're going to reserve 1/3 cup of the mixture for brushing the peaches. Now, don't be taken aback by the fact that this is vinegar and honey. I promise you the flavors are going to meld. They're going to come together perfectly. Now, you're going to bring the remaining mixture to a boil over medium heat. Cook and stir it for about 4 to 6 minutes. You'll be able to tell when it starts to thicken. It'll thicken slightly, kind of syrupy, okay? Don't overcook it. So as soon as it's a little syrupy, just remove it from the heat. Now you're going to take 6 medium peaches. You could also do nectarines, by the way.
Oh.
Heck, let's get wild. We could probably do pineapple.
Oh, that's another delicious option.
On the grill, I do pineapple easily.
Wonderful.
But you're going to brush your peaches, 6 medium peaches that you have cut in half and taken the pits out. Brush it with some of that reserved balsamic vinegar and then grill them covered on an oiled rack over medium heat, about 6 to 8 minutes on each side, or until they begin to caramelize. You're going to brush them occasionally with some of that reserved balsamic mixture and just serve it along with the glaze. You could let them come to room temperature if you want. You could serve them with a little ice cream if desired. And, well, I desire that. Yes, balsamic honey glazed peaches served with ice cream. I mean, there's just no reason not to make that. The peaches are in season.
Oh, yeah.
You know your grill's hot. You've been using it, right?
Yeah.
How about that?
That sounds great.
I'm just, you know what? The dessert shows get me the worst. They really do. Because I go home craving something.
Get you in the most trouble, right?
I may have to shop for a Cocoa Krispies milkshake on the way home from the studio. That's something wrong about that, Nick. I don't know.
I don't know.
Something
we'll have to test it.
Guys, we'll be right back with an etiquette lesson. Don't be afraid.
Everybody eats when they come to my house.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
Welcome back to the Southern Sisters radio program. Are you uncouth? Do you have bad manners? Do you pick your teeth at the table? These are not good things.
Who you asking?
Listen, if nobody's around, I don't know that it matters. But if I'm there, if I'm at the dinner table, well, let's just say my children know that a different standard of behavior is expected at the dinner table when mom is sitting there.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just a whole different ballgame. You know, there are a lot of very common mistakes that folks make when it comes to etiquette. Okay? I mean, we all make them. We've all embarrassed ourselves, done the wrong thing, used the wrong fork, said the wrong thing at one time or another. Everyone makes etiquette faux pas every now and then, even etiquette experts. How about that?
Oh.
The key to making things right is to apologize for whatever it is and move on. Learn from your mistakes and try not to keep making the same ones, well, over and over. You know, if you do it over and over, it becomes a habit, and then it's harder to break.
Then you're not trying.
No, you just ain't trying. Now, following certain rules of etiquette is essential in both social and professional situations. So it's a good idea to learn them. It can mean even the difference between keeping or losing friends or even getting ahead in business. You see what I'm saying? Just as important is to learn what not to do. So we're going to talk today about those not to do things, right? Now, here's what you do not want to do. Let's start with number one, being impolite to anyone. You know the golden rule, right?
Yes.
Being nice to others in all scenarios is the most important rule of etiquette you can follow. You may not know proper placement of dinnerware or when to use which fork, folks, but most people will forgive you for those small infractions. However, and I can't overstate this enough, being rude to people is simply something that you can't undo.
Nope.
That was always a big deal with me, like back in my single days when I was dating. If a date was in any way rude to like the wait staff at a restaurant, that just bothered me so much.
Yeah, that's a telltale sign.
Telltale. If they'll be rude to someone there, they'll be rude to anybody, in my opinion. Someone who's serving you. If they're rude, then that's just not right.
Correct.
Politeness extends to everyone you come in contact with, from the doorman of your office or apartment building to your boss and other company executives. I'm always very polite to you, aren't I, Nick?
Yes, you are.
I know.
And I hope I'm always very polite back.
You are the epitome of politeness.
Oh, well,
epitome of a Southern gentleman. Showing gratitude and respect to servers at restaurants, sale clerks at retail outlets, and even the bagger at your grocery store can make the difference in a service person's day. Think about that. I mean, you know, they may be having a bad day. An unkind word from you could just make things all the worse for them.
Yeah, very true.
You can lift people up or you can tear them down with your words, and never underestimate the power of your words. So, you know,
a simple thank you can change somebody's day.
Yes,
absolutely.
Exactly. Be grateful. Not being nice to any of the people that you come into contact with, especially the ones that are serving you, shows a lack of character, quite frankly, on your part. So, number two, things that you might be doing that you should not do. Okay, and I'm so bad at this one. Being late. Now, Nick knows I was 20 minutes late to the studio today. Now,
that's okay.
He is such a sweet, kind Southern gentleman. He never chastises me for it. But the fact is, it has happened more than once. So therefore, that may be poor etiquette on my part. Now, today it was traffic issues. But if you are one of those people who are chronically late, you are showing disrespect for other people's time. Right?
Yeah, you gotta, you know, and the biggest difference too about it all is if you're going to be late, at least tell somebody. Right. At least let them know. We live in a day and age of cell phones. You've got one in your pocket or in your purse. I completely
agree.
Just tell them, hey, sorry, running behind.
Now, you have to admit, Nick, I have been known to take a picture of the traffic and send it to you.
Yes. Well, once again, you're driving into Atlanta. We all understand how that goes sometimes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But so, yeah, absolutely. Let them know if you're running late. When you agree to show up at a certain time, just try to be there on time. If you are occasionally late, you will probably be forgiven if it isn't something you do often. And like you said, Nick, always call and let someone know your circumstances and then your ETA.
Mm-hmm.
I find that's helpful.
Yes.
You're right. If
Well,
I'm going to be 20 minutes, I like to let you know so that you can do something else for those 20 minutes.
And I always, I have this problem too of being later, cutting it way too close for comfort sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
I've learned that whatever time I think it's going to take me to get somewhere,
right.
I add about an extra 10 minutes to the commute.
Yeah.
And you know what? If I have to sit in the parking lot for 10 minutes, I sit in the parking lot for 10 minutes. That's all right.
Yeah.
Then I'm the first one there. And then it's about, where are you guys been?
Then you're just sucking up.
That's not always a bad thing.
That guy.
That's not always a bad thing.
No,
right?
it's not. No. Another thing that is very poor etiquette that you should not do is failing to introduce others. Now, I've been guilty of this too, but not primarily because I may have forgotten the person's name. I hate to admit that.
Yeah.
That has happened to me before. Yeah. So when you are with people and you don't know, and they don't know each other, let's say you're with two people, they don't know each other, you should always introduce them. If you can't remember either of their names, then politely say something like, I'm sorry, I know we've met, but I can't recall your name. Then use the person's name during the introduction and afterward in conversation. Okay, that does two things. That reinforces it in your brain, their name, and it also kind of makes them feel better if you continue to use their name, right? Now, if you include something that you discussed with that person in the past, it will kind of soften up the fact that you forgot their name. I've done that before. There'll be somebody, their name slips my mind, but I remember meeting them before, and I remember some circumstances about meeting them before.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, one thing, too, I've realized that works for me, and it's a little bit of a tell, I guess, but sometimes if I've forgotten someone's name, right, I'll ask them, what was your whole name again? And it's like, I didn't forget that you were Jenny. I just couldn't remember Jenny Earhart. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And that way, you didn't really forget their name.
You didn't really forget it.
Sometimes that's another way to do it as well. What was your whole name again?
What was your whole name?
And people and oh, I'm sorry.
That's right.
Jenny Earhart. I'm sorry. I knew a Jenny Aaron. I put the two confused. I'm sorry. Those little things.
Smooth.
It works.
That is smooth, Nick.
And you keep the etiquette, and it makes people.
Yeah.
And honestly, what is your whole name again?
Right, Jenny Earhart.
It's something about saying your whole name makes you feel kind of professional and important, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jenny frickin' Earhart. Makes me feel very special.
But it does. It helps.
Now, tell me if you've ever done this. And I've done this with my husband and my best friend. We're going somewhere, and I know I don't remember someone's name. I know I don't. I've done this thing where I will turn to my friend quietly and just say, I've forgotten her name. Do me a favor, just stick your hand out and introduce yourself, and then she'll have to repeat her name.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Right? So then Pam will walk up to that person and say, hey, I'm Pam Sanders, right? And then obviously that person then, well, thank you, I'm whoever, right? Yeah. And then and of course I'm listening.
Yes, we've all done that before.
And you can slide right into it like you never forgot their name at all.
And I know we need to move on, but real quick question.
Yes.
Have you ever had someone come up to you and go, honestly, I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. What's your name again?
Well, in all honesty, I'm quite memorable, Nick, so no,
well
that has
played.
Never happened to me.
You never had that happen?
No, I have.
But,
yeah.
But here's my question.
Yeah.
Are you like, oh, you forgot my name?
Yeah.
No, most people aren't.
No.
So usually
I'm
if you're
not
honest
at all
about
offended.
it.
No.
But you got to make that introduction.
People say to me like, Gina. They'll call me Gina.
Close.
Or
close.
Yeah. Because at least they were kind of right on the first syllable.
But
right?
especially, you don't know that your friend doesn't, for sure that your friend does not know this new acquaintance.
Right.
You've got to make that introduction.
You do.
Because then you have helped build that relationship.
Right.
And that's great.
Don't you think where it gets awkward is if you have met the person a couple of times and then realize you don't remember their name?
Yes.
By then you feel like it's
weird.
Really embarrassing because I've seen you 3 times and I still don't know your name.
Yeah, it does get a little weird
right.
then. We can all find ways around it.
Now, listen, here's another thing not to do when it comes to etiquette. This is a common etiquette mistake, folks. Chatting or texting on your cell phone while you're physically with other people. Okay, so always give the person you are physically with your attention. If your cell phone rings, you receive a text that needs immediate response, politely excuse yourself and keep all electronic contact brief. Mm-hmm. Okay, now then when you return to the person, apologize and refrain from making a habit of chatting on the phone or texting when you're with someone else. I think this is especially important, if you're dating in a date situation, certainly in a business situation. And like I said, we know that like some of us have, if you have young children, your mothers, you're out, you get a call from a child. Mothers understand that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mothers are very forgiving. Parents in general often are very forgiving about that. So just be aware of it. It's best not to text while you're dining with others.
No.
When you're out. How does it make you feel?
You know what, folks? don't even put the phone on the table. Leave it in your pocket, leave it in your bag. Don't even get it out.
Right.
And you won't be tempted to check your phone real fast.
Exactly.
Just talk.
And
Enjoy
don't think I don't notice if you've got the phone under the table. Okay, a couple of my kids tried to get away with that at the dinner table. I just noticed they weren't talking, and I looked at them, and they were looking down, but they had the cell phone down under the table, and they were in their lap, and they were texting.
You don't think I can notice?
That's the quickest way to get it taken away. Yeah. Put it in the basket.
Yeah.
Put it in the cell phone basket. Another common mistake when it comes to etiquette is failing to RSVP.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lost art. And there are certain people out there, millennials, who are not so good about RSVPing for parties. Now, when you're invited to any event, whether it's a dinner party or a wedding, let the host know whether or not you'll be there. And please do it as soon as possible. Failing to RSVP can hamper the person who must plan the guest list, pay for the food and the space. So if you send regrets and later discover that you were able to make it, call the host and ask if it isn't too late.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with doing that.
No.
There may still be time. And being understanding if the host has already filled your position is also important. This is true with weddings when you're paying by the head.
Yes.
It's just a tremendous expense. So be mindful of that.
Yes.
If you have accepted and you get sick at the last minute, call the host immediately. Never change plans if something more interesting comes along.
No, you've already made the commitment.
That ain't fitting.
Stick to it.
Don't do it. Don't change your mind. No, you may never get invited again by that host if he finds out. And if you make up other plans, I actually have a friend that this happened to. She had plans with someone. The person canceled the plans and then later posted a picture of themselves on Facebook doing something else.
Oh.
It was so...
It's a slap in the face.
It was awful. Yeah.
It's a slap in the face.
It ain't right. No. Now, another common etiquette mistake is being... I think we've talked about this before, Nick. It's being too self-absorbed. Not you. I'm talking about just in general. We've talked about it.
I don't know.
You have, when chatting with friends, family, or coworkers, give equal time during the conversation. If you have a pattern of making the discussion all about you, you may discover people walking a wide berth around you or running away when they see you coming. We all know who these people are.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know anybody who's like this, it might be you.
It might be you.
You don't want people to see you as narcissistic or self-absorbed. The best way to have a decent conversation with someone is to ask questions about him or her and then be attentive. Be a good listener. Listen to what they have to say. How about another common etiquette mistake? Having bad table manners.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Chew with your mouth closed.
Listen, for years I felt like I was the table manner police at my house. I probably wasn't a lot of fun to eat with for a while because I would, snap my fingers.
Chew with your mouth closed.
In this world of people rushing around, you may have become accustomed to running through a drive-through lane and eating on the run. This is bad for your digestion. It also gets you out of the habit of exercising good table manners. So when you're dining out with others, please, folks, good Southern sisters know this, take your time to observe proper table manners, right? If you're unclear about what the rules are, hey, you can find it online. Yeah. Believe me, there's plenty of advice out there.
And even, you know what, if you really aren't sure, just ask the folks you're with.
Right.
It's okay.
No
one's going to judge you. I'd rather you ask than go when you're drinking your soup. Just be like, hey,
You're so right. And believe me, there's just, I can't overstate the importance of good table manners. Because people may or may not notice your good table manners, but I guarantee you they will notice your bad ones.
Yes, they will.
Last and final common etiquette mistake, Southern sisters and the men who adore them. Forgetting to be thankful. When someone gives you a gift or does something special for you, always show your gratitude. Immediately say thank you, obviously. And when you get home, send a brief thank you note. If time gets away from you, don't let that be an excuse to ignore what you should have already done. Try to send a thank you note as soon as possible. Now, I know we live in a new age. Texting, emailing, Snapchatting. People have asked me before, is that an acceptable substitute? And I always just say, well, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, very true.
It's better than nothing. And I do understand that we have to evolve and change with the times. But we've talked before about how nice it is to get a handwritten note.
Yes. And I think if you go to a wedding or especially a large event like that, you absolutely should send a handwritten note. But if you go to a gathering, a football game at a friend's house or something like that, whenever you get home, jump on Facebook or pull out your text messages. Say, hey, thanks for having me tonight. I had a great time.
I love that.
Sometimes that will make You are the first person they invite the next time they're having a get-together.
I think that's right. And you know what you do? You're meeting them on a medium that they're comfortable with.
Exactly.
You really are. So some people disagree with that. I think it's a fantastic idea. Well, folks, there you go. Don't make these mistakes.
No.
Don't make these common errors.
You're better than that.
Guess what we're going to do? In the next segment, we are going to prepare for a disaster. Oh, indeed we are.
All right.
Southern Sisters has some great advice. Stay tuned, guys.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
Hey, KLRN radio family, this is Jenny Earhart. Check out the Southern Sisters radio show every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. Connect with me on Facebook at Southern Sisters Home with Jenny Earhart. You can also catch our Facebook Live videos, unedited and uncensored. Connect with me personally. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Welcome back to the Southern Sisters Radio Show. Well, if you're within the sound of my voice or if you're listening to us on Facebook Live, you may very well have been through or experienced some of the effects of Hurricane Harvey. Our Facebook following, certainly we have folks all over the South that watch us online. And so, certainly our hearts and prayers are with you. It's been a tough time for those communities. It's uprooted families,
Absolutely.
pets. Houses have been damaged and destroyed. And, we all are at risk in one way or another. It's possible. I know that here in sort of our neck of the woods, we don't worry as much about hurricanes here in the Atlanta area as we do about tornadoes.
Correct.
Right? Certainly, thunderstorms that result in heavy rains, we often get flooding here in this area.
Yes, we do.
So are you prepared? Are you?
That's a very loaded question, Jenny.
Well, it is a very loaded question. I think people may think that they are, but when they really think it through, they may realize they're not.
Oh.
There are things that you should be doing, right?
Yes.
So we're actually, in this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about what you're not doing, okay, that you should be doing. I feel like we're giving folks a lot of lists today.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is all vital stuff.
I'm a list
person. You can always go
I like to
listen
check
to
them
it
off.
on SoundCloud and iTunes. You can go back and give it a listen.
Go back. Share it.
Pause and play and take notes.
Take some notes down, guys. Share it with your loved ones. Certainly those that are near the coast. It's important for them to know these things.
Absolutely.
But do you know there are a lot of common mistakes that folks made or things that they're not doing that they should to be prepared for any kind of natural disaster or emergency. The number one thing that people don't do in preparing for disaster is they don't have enough stored food. All right. So the last place you want to be during a natural disaster is stuck inside your home with no food. Now, Southerners, we have a little experience with the whole ice storm. We better get bread and milk type of thing.
You
know
need more than just bread and milk, people.
You do.
Like, what are you doing? Eat milk sandwiches?
I don't know. You could do, what can you do with bread and milk?
I don't know.
You got to have some peanut butter.
Sounds unpleasant,
It doesn't sound that good. No, you can't even do French toast because you need eggs for that.
Yeah.
Oh, well. As a general rule, guys, you should have enough non-perishable food stored up for 3 days. Got it? If the power goes out for more than 2 hours, the food, did you realize this? The food inside your refrigerator will start to spoil in as little as 2 hours. Stocking up a few days of food is especially crucial following weather events that shut down an entire city.
Yes.
Something like a snowstorm, an ice storm.
FYI, people, too, leave those canned goods and stuff up at the top of the pantry in case there is flooding. It doesn't ruin those.
It doesn't
those
ruin
foods.
those things.
Yes, leave them up at the top.
Excellent suggestion. Another mistake that folks make when it comes to being prepared for natural disaster is not setting aside some cash. How about that?
Yeah, the card machines don't work when all the power's out.
Yeah, you got problems, right? In the event of an electrical systems outage, your debit card may not be useful. You'll need spending cash to buy some important items or to pay for services that may become necessary during an emergency. It's recommended that you keep a few $100s under the mattress in case extreme weather hits. And here's another important thing to remember. You should get that money in small denominations because you may be places where they can't make change.
Yeah, 5s and 10s. 5s and 10s.
Do it, right? I love the part about hanging it under, hiding it under your mattress.
Yeah.
I think my grandmother used to do that, right?
Who didn't?
Now, another thing that folks tend not to do that they should is they don't have an out-of-area emergency contact. Now, think about this. You don't just need to have a nearby friend's phone number at the ready if severe weather strikes. If a devastating weather system hits town, you might need to call a friend from afar. If there's widespread destruction, you may need to leave town. It's vitally important to have a go-to friend or a family member that's expecting your call and is willing to help you, whether it's with resources or maybe even a place to stay.
That's a very, very good point. I think a lot of people don't think about, well, what can they do? They're 200 miles away.
I know, right.
They're your evacuation plan.
They're right. And they may be able to tell you what roads are clear, here's the best way to get here.
Very true.
Right? Make sure that you set up an out-of-town emergency contact and make sure they know that you'll be relying on them if there's an emergency. Okay. Another thing don't do that people often don't do that they should is folks tend not to have enough stored water. Okay? Now, you should store 1 gallon per person per day for extreme weather threat. If you're hit with extreme weather, you'll need at least that much for drinking, cooking, and bathing in an emergency.
Absolutely.
Got that?
And honestly, folks, the gallons, a lot better of an idea than the individual bottles, the cases of bottles.
Cheaper,
gallons,
too.
Yes, the gallons will go a lot. They store better.
They store better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Water, folks. Another thing that people tend not to do that they should is you may not have a plan ready for your entire family.
Most of us don't. Let's just be honest here,
No.
people. I know that I don't have a plan for everything.
Right.
Do you?
No, not
No.
everything.
Let's
A
be
couple
fair.
of things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Fire.
realized? Well, fire. Typically, parents, I think of that, especially if they have kids up on the second floor.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They need to know how to get out. If a tornado hits your town, let's say in the middle of a weekday, while you're at work and the kids are at school, does everyone know exactly what to do? Does your son know if he gets stuck at work, where you'll be if a winter storm suddenly paralyzes the town? Think ahead and plan for every scenario. It'll keep your family from panicking. Right? When what they really need is poise and calm.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
I find that a place, especially if you're someplace out, we used to always say we'd have a place to meet. If we weren't at home, here's where we'll all meet.
Yep.
You know, that's useful, especially if you're ever at a ballpark or any kind of fairgrounds or something where there's a lot of people. It's always good in case you get separated to say, if anybody gets lost, if we get separated, here's where we'll meet. Right?
Absolutely.
Now, another thing that you may not be doing is you haven't figured out where you would go in the event of an emergency. How about this? A place that maybe allows pets so you don't have to leave Fido at home.
Good point.
I would have a hard time leaving Dixie the Wonder Dog at home.
I don't know. You'd have to take Dixie with you. She could probably rescue you in situations along the way, right?
You know, I was talking to her yesterday, and I told her, I said, if you just had opposable thumbs, you would be so much more help to me. I could teach her to do so many things. She could help around the house. She could run the vacuum cleaner. Dixie, my wonder dog. Some Red Cross shelters don't allow pets to come in with families, and some hotels also forbid them. So to save yourself the added stress of getting turned away in an emergency, be sure to check with local hotels and find the one that will be accommodating in an emergency in case your house becomes uninhabitable, right? The Red Cross Shelter Finder app can tell you if the nearest shelter will allow pets.
There you go.
Red Cross Shelter Finder
Wonderful.
app. How about that? Another thing, guys, that is sometime, we're not doing it, and we should. Is your first aid kit complete? Most families, believe it or not, have a first aid kit that is either incomplete or non-existent. Okay?
Or you have it and it's been in the same place for 9 years.
I want to check and see if that vaccine's still good.
Exactly.
May have expired. Don't get complacent or lackadaisical with your first aid kit. It needs to be complete and ready to go at all times. If you've used something in the past in an emergency, be sure to replace it. This includes prescriptions, right?
Yes.
Make sure you're all set when the storm threatens. And once you're stranded, you never know, that first aid kit may save your life. How about this? Another thing, guys, people don't realize, keep your cars in tip-top condition. My mother used to always say, you need to have at least a half a tank of gas in your car at all time. And I used to tease her about it and make fun of it. But you know what? Under the right circumstances, you don't want to be looking for gas.
Very true.
Or under the wrong circumstances,
Correct.
I should say, you don't want to be looking for gas. Guys, we think it's important to stay safe whenever, but certainly in times of natural disaster. We hope we don't ever have to live through it.
Yep.
But we want to know that we're prepared if we do. All of these tips will be on our website. You can go and look up for these tips about surviving a natural disaster at southernsistershome.com. Just click on the blog. It was a great week. We'll see you guys right back here next week.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.